Hi everyone, welcome back to High Speed Touring. I find myself in the unusual position of being bikeless. The RR was sold and the guy came to collect it yesterday. What a nice guy he was. I'm glad it's gone to a very nice home and I'm sure it'll be well looked after. And the GS has gone in for an update to its electronics because of the SOS button. A message keeps coming up on the dash every time I ride and tells me that there's a emergency button failure and to go to the nearest dealership. So I finally had that done. 4-hour download in Tunbridge Wells at Cooper's, and that seems to have done the trick. And this is the new addition to the garage. It's a GSXR 750 2005 K5 model, pretty much standard. Picked it up online to do some track work this year. So I've had time to have a test ride on the bike. There were some issues with it when I got it. It seems to have full service history. It's been fairly well looked after. It's fairly standard. The issues that we had were that the throttle cable was a bit slack. There were absolutely no brakes whatsoever, and just before it was delivered I had a new front tyre and the headstock was replaced, the bearings, so it saved me some expense. But overall, yeah, pretty good. Gonna have it checked over and see how it goes. So the issues that we had after the test ride was a slack throttle cable, and the front brakes were pretty much non-existent, and the rear disc was slightly warped, and again the pads were completely gone. And it's just come back from Mark Motorcycles in Bromley, and they've done a fantastic job overhauling the brakes because pretty much there weren't any. It's got now hell braided lines on the front in the race spec, so one on each side, and it's also got SBS pads front and rear, the uprated on the front, standard on the rear, and a new bembo rear disc. Complete change of fluid, and that seems to have done the trick. It's working really nicely, just trying to bed them in. And the throttle cable has been tightened up, and I have to say, what a difference. The other issue I have is the rider's seat. It's a bit worn, very well polished, and also there's no tank grips. Every time I try and grip hold of something, I slide across the tank, so that needs to be addressed. Not entirely sure what to do with this rocket launcher on the side. I do want to take it on track, that's the aim, so I would like to change the exhaust for something a bit smaller. However, it does need to be quiet enough to get on track. So yeah, it's a pretty good bike all in all. Happy with it. I'll try and start up for you. It doesn't sound great because of the exhaust obviously, but we'll have a go. So, usual Suzuki wiggle. Excuse the camera angle. There we go. Pretty quiet. Definitely going to get on track at the moment. When I got the GSXR, I realised it only had one key with it. So I took the key down to this place in Green Street Green. The guy there is fantastic. If you send him a picture of your key on an email, he will be able to cut you a new key and send it out to you. He does keys for all different vehicles all around the world, and he's very experienced, over 40 years in the business. So if you ever have in need of a key, give him a call, send him an email. So there we are, that's more like it. Still room for one more. We are just waiting for the S1000 RRM Sport 2020 to be delivered. I'm told it's coming early March, so hopefully go and pick it up pretty soon.